What's going on, everyone? I'm just a typical average American here today to react and learn about American police versus British police, a comparison. When Americans think about police, we have a very, very, very clear idea in our mind what that image is supposed to look like what a cop looks like, what a police car looks like. And when I think of British police, honestly, I think of this picture right here. This is what I think of big hats, giant hats compared to ours. Kind of interesting, not really sure what they're for. And I don't actually know if this is the look of a standard British police officer or if there's different kinds or I mean, in America, we know what the duty of the police is. It's debated how well the training of the police is, who should be allowed to become an officer. It's a huge responsibility. That whole topic has become huge in the past few years in America, based on, people have cell phones, they can videotape negative interactions with police. It's a huge thing. So the whole standards and obligations and duties and practices of police are, under scrutiny. And I'm also just wondering in general how this video interprets American cops versus British cops. So it's something I've never really learned about before. So, with that being said, let's take a look.
Whatever we might think about the police, one thing that's certain is that we are fascinated by them. As early as the 50s, the police crime drama started filling our TV screens, and long before that, Arthur Conan Doyle and Edgar Allan Poe planted the seeds for the genre of detective fiction. The good cop, the bad cop, or even the rebel with a cause cop kind of shows in the 70s have evolved into more realistic series such as The Wire, which give us a more nuanced version of police work and those that do it.
Yeah, that is funny. Like, being a police officer in America is like, it used to be so glamorized. Like, there's tons of detective and TV shows based around being a cop. That's the whole show. With, like, personality and responsibility and, yeah, that whole image. The image of an officer in America has changed so much. Like, even the level of trust in the police has changed so much.
Real life, dashcam footage from police vehicles has also become a staple in the online content we consume. Today we are going to concentrate on real life cops, and perhaps the two most famous, sometimes infamous police forces in the world, in this episode of the infographic show, American Cops versus British Cops.
Wow, somewhat infamous police forces in the world, jeez. I don't know anything about the image of the British police or nothing.
Don't forget to subscribe and click the bell button so that you can be part of our notification squad. Prior to what we consider an actual police force, the ancients had many ways to police the polis, or city. Slaves in ancient Greece would handle the rowdy crowds when tempers flared, while the Romans might set the Praetorian Guard on out-of-control rioters.
This is what you got back in the day. You got a gigantic brute with armor and a trident to keep peace and order. I bet that worked, honestly. Be pretty compelling. I would not jaywalk or anything with this guy here.
Control rioters. Through the ages, there have been myriad ways to maintain public order, and also some pretty gruesome punishments for those that breach the accepted rules. In the UK, it wasn't until 1749 when a judge named Henry Fielding created what was called the Bow Street Runners, the first time Britain had anything what we can associate with today's police force. As British cities grew at a rapid pace...
The Bow Street Runners. Is that commonly known in Britain? I don't think there's any equivalent in America to, like, the first police force. The Bow Street Runners. Sounds like a band.
Under the Industrial Revolution, so did crime. And so on September 29th, 1829, the Metropolitan Police Service was formed in London, and it is said to be the first...
Oh, what year was that?
29th, 1829.
1829! Wow, almost 200 years ago. These little cartoon British police officers look like what I picture in my mind when I picture a British officer.
Metropolitan Police Service was formed in London, and it is said to be the first modern police force ever created. The man behind it...
What? The first modern police force in history was the British police force? Who knew?
Service was formed in London, and it is said to be the first modern police force ever created. The man behind it, Sir Robert Peel, explained why England needed cops. I want to teach people that liberty does not consist in having your house robbed by organized gangs of thieves and in leaving the principal streets of London in the nightly possession of drunken women and vagabonds. Why?
Oh, well, according to this guy, London and Britain so desperately out of necessity needed the police force. Makes sense. Honestly, probably everywhere, all over the planet, at that point in time, desperately needed a police force.
Why were they nicknamed Bobbies? Well, after their founder, Robert. As you know,
Hey, there it is. Okay, we can't skip over that. Yeah, in the title of this video, it says American cops versus British cops. Parentheses, Bobbies. And I was like, Bobbies? Are we really calling our police in Britain Bobbies? Why?
no, the USA women and vagabonds. Why were they nicknamed Bobbies? Well, after their founder, Robert. As you know, the USA was noted for its Wild West outlaws. One of those was Billy the Kid, who was shot by Sheriff Pat Garrett in 1881. Like Britain,
Right.
America had ways to control crime, but for a long time there was no formal police force, and so the job of keeping folks in line often went to private contractors such as the Pinkerton National Detective Agency.
Oh, I thought he was talking about, like, legit bounty hunters. Like, yeah, the Wild West. That is so famous in America. Like, the lawless Wild West. Back in the day, just frontier justice. We have all sorts of sayings for, like, the lawless justice of people just having revolvers and cowboy hats and just kind of doing whatever to keep the peace.
Systems including night watchmen and even what some call inspectors such as the Pinkerton National Detective Agency. Systems including night watchmen and even what some called goons for hire weren't workable as the USA grew in population. It's thought that the first American formal police force was created in Boston in 1838, New York City followed in 1845, and by the 1880s, just about all American cities had an organized police force.
Wow, I didn't even know that, to be honest. 1880s.
Now that we know something about the history of these two countries' police forces, let's look at the present day. The number of police officers in just England and Wales has decreased significantly in the last decade, which has become a major political issue in the UK. The number in
Really?
2016 of officers in the force was 124,066, down from 143,769.
Wow, so the number of officers in England and Wales has decreased. What is that? That's not quite like a 20% decrease, but like, I don't know, 15% decrease? That's significant. Like, stretched out over the entire, the entirety of England and Wales. Why is that? Why the decrease? People just don't want to do the job? That's kind of a big thing in America, to be honest. You have to have people willing to put their life on the line. Like, it's a huge, dangerous, big responsibility to the community. And not only do you have to put your life on the line, but you have to do it for people who might be giving you a hard time, like, at the same time.
7 years before that. The number of full-time officers working in Scotland in 2016 was 17,242, and the number in Northern Ireland was 6,773. That's a total of 148,081 police officers working all over the United Kingdom. The population of the UK is 65.64 million, so roughly there is one police officer for every 448 people. Much of the British media and the public are saying that is not enough, especially as the crime rate rise in the UK is rising faster than it has in a decade.
The crime rate is rising. When was this video made? This was made 5 years ago. I assume these statistics are still fairly relevant. Crime rate is rising. You got one police officer for every 400 people. That's not enough. I don't know if that's enough or not. I have no idea, like, I don't know, like, for instance, the United States, how many officers we have. Probably a lot.
This includes a rise in violent crimes and homicide. Over the pond in the USA, crime rates are much higher, and as some police departments are looking more like military units, the role of police in society has met with some controversy. Finding the actual number of sworn police officers working in the USA in 2016 isn't that easy. This is because figures given by the US Bureau of Justice Statistics haven't been updated in a few years. The total number of police agencies in the US is around 18,000, but that...
What? Why? What? For one thing, of course, the crime in the United States is way worse. Of course, that would probably necessitate more. Plus, we have a big population, but more crime, more officers. Why is our statistics, our Bureau of Statistics, not updating this stuff? Like, that's actually concerning to me.
That includes all branches of police. If we take just local police departments, that number is more like 15,500, according to PolitiFact. The old data that is often cited says that in 2008, there were 765,000 officers that had the power to make an arrest. The US Department of Justice gives the number of 750,340 for 2012. According to the National Law Enforcement Officers Memorial Fund, that number has shot up and is presently about 900,000. The US population is 323.1 million, so that means that roughly there is one cop for every 359 people.
Not all that different than Britain, to be honest. 350 people per cop versus 400 people per cop. I actually would have thought it would be more here.
One of the major differences is that in the USA, police carry guns, as do 36% of American households, according to the Washington Post. It's reported that in 2016, 135 police officers died in the line of duty.
Wait, what?
According to the Washington Post.
Wait, what?
That in the USA, police carry guns.
Do police not carry guns in Britain? Like, actually? That is such a strange concept, such a foreign, if you will, such a foreign concept to me, my little old American brain. Just because there's a lot of stuff with American police, it's associated with, like, guns, for one thing, the use of force. Maybe that's not a good thing, I'm starting to learn from this video. But yeah, like, the idea of an officer not having a firearm. And that's also funny that, this narrator said, like, 30% or more of the US population owns a gun, of course.
As do 36% of American households, according to the Washington Post. It's reported that in 2016, 135 police officers died in the line of duty, with around half of those that died being fatally shot. The Guardian reports that the number of officers killed in the line of duty in the UK is a total of 11 since 2010.
What? I mean, I only laugh because it's, like, absurd. It's definitely not funny. 135 in a year versus 11 since 2010? That is, like, that discrepancy does not compute in my mind. That says a lot, I think. Whole lot more gun violence in America.
Although many officers are assaulted in the UK. In 2015, it was reported that 23,000 assaults occurred against officers in just England and Wales. In 2017, the Police Federation of England and Wales reported this figure to be not even close to the real number. It said there were 2.4 million assaults in 2016, meaning an officer was attacked every 13 seconds that year. 300,000 of them involved attacks with deadly weapons. The report said the average police officer is assaulted 19 times a year.
What? That's what I'm talking about. That's why it's, like, possibly difficult to recruit people to be officers. Especially, you have to accept a very wide range of applicants, especially in the United States, because it's not a very glamorous job, but it is necessary. And in recent times, it's often a very thankless job as well. And according to this, if you're a cop in Britain, you're being assaulted 19 times a year.
On the other hand, in the USA in 2016, police officers killed a total of 1,093 people. According to Inquest.org, in the UK in 2016, a total of 5 people were shot and killed by police.
What? Look at this. Is this a problem with the... People often blame the training of United States police officers. I mean, there were 1,000 deaths by police officers versus 5. 5! That's not just, like, that's beyond a difference. That's, like, an outrageous difference.
The total number of people shot and killed in the UK since 1990 is 67. We should add here that regular cops in the UK don't carry guns, but armed police can be called when it's thought guns are needed.
Right. I keep forgetting that. Oh my gosh, I keep forgetting that. That's why, right? That explains it right there. Because, hold on, let me listen again. The police in Britain don't have guns, so they're not using them on people.
Regular cops in the UK don't carry guns, but armed police can be called when it's thought guns are needed.
Wow. Police in Britain don't carry guns. That is fascinating. Tasers, perhaps? American police have tasers and guns. maybe police force in Britain has tasers at least? Something. I mean, gotta. Have to.
Police in Northern Ireland are different, routinely carrying firearms. According to the newspaper The Mirror, in 2016 there were 1,863,524 legally owned guns in Wales and England, most of which were shotguns. It's thought there are another 277,000 guns in Scotland and a further 150,000 legally owned guns in Northern Ireland.
Okay, so there is like a community of people in Britain who do own firearms, like civilians and stuff.
The same newspaper said there were another 2 million illegally owned guns on the UK streets, which has raised the question if the UK police should be given firearms. The murder rate per capita in the US is still 30 times higher than in the UK, which might not be surprising considering there are more guns than people in the country.
The murder rate in the US per capita is 30 times more people. Oh my gosh, this video is disturbing me about America.
According to the Washington Post. As for assaults on officers, there were 51,548 assaults against US police officers in 2015, with a total of 14,453 injuries sustained.
I was supposed to just have a good time, learn about the cops in Britain, British cops, bobbies, and learn about Britain. Instead, I'm learning all this, the horrors of all this stuff in America.
With this in mind, how does life on the job compare between the two forces, and how do you even get a job as a police officer? In the UK, you can join when you are 18. There are no restrictions on height, but the force does ask you to be in good enough physical and mental shape to undertake police duties. No formal qualifications are required, but you will need to pass some tests to get in. Pass them, and you are in, just as long as you haven't committed any serious offenses in the past. It's similar in the US, although the police force does usually ask for a high school diploma, and
Yeah, this sounds very similar to the US and Britain, the recruitment. It's fairly loose. You have to have graduated high school in the US, but when you're 18, you can pretty much apply. It's pretty much perceived as a good career. If you don't really have any aspirations to go to college or do some kind of other trade, becoming an officer is a good way to make a decent living and then have a great retirement that you build up and you get paid for the rest of your life after serving a set amount of time on the police force, which is nice. It's a good incentive.
And that you are either 18 or 21 depending on the department. You'll have to train at a police academy and have either a clean criminal record or have only committed minor offenses. There is no minimum or maximum height or weight limit, but in the academy you'll have to pass certain physical agility tests. Nowhere does it state you have to enjoy eating donuts. Wages vary.
Is that just an American police trope? That American police love donuts? That's even in American pop culture that they like donuts.
But in England, Wales, and Northern Ireland, you can expect to start your career as a police constable on anything from $25,000 US to $30,000. If you work hard, UK career websites say that within about 7 years, that wage can be $48,872 US. You should
probably, I mean, that's not that great for like the job you're doing. Factoring in all the danger and what you have to put up with on a day-to-day basis. It's not like one of the best paying gigs, is it?
Work a 40-hour week, although police work can often mean overtime and also emergency callouts. You'll get 23 days annual leave and also full sick pay. The pension varies depending on time worked, but the average police pension in the UK is thought to be around $20,465 a year, and the normal retirement age is 60. In the US, salaries differ from state to state, but a rookie cop working in the NYPD can expect to earn $46,288 per year. After 5.5 years, this could rise to $90,829 if you...
Wow! That's nice. Wow, holy. That's pretty good. 90,000 after 5 years. Yeah, that's like a very legitimate career option for a lot of people looking at that.
You have done well. Other states have average wages closer to $30,000 and others $70,000 according to career website Kron.
Okay, I would have thought it'd be like 60,000 and then more and more over time.
You get 10 days paid vacation to start with, but after 5 years it will increase to 27 days. You'll also receive unlimited fully paid sick days, medical benefits, dental benefits, and optional retirement after 22 years on the force.
Yeah. I feel like America, like especially modern America, is probably having more and more recruiting issues in police. So there's a lot of really, really alluring incentives like that. Benefits, retirement, It's a big thing in America, American police.
Like the UK, you will work around 40 hours a week in shifts, but that might change with overtime. How much pension you receive can be affected by multiple factors, but various websites put the average police pension anywhere from $58,000 to $62,000. With money in mind, we'll end the show there. Where would you rather be a cop, the UK or the US? Let us know in the comments. Also, be sure to check out our other video.
Wow. Well, honestly, the benefits were kind of similar. Maybe slightly better in America, but as far as the safety goes, I think I'd rather be an officer in Britain, just because there's a whole lot less gun violence by the sound of it. Yeah, that might be the biggest takeaway from this, that the biggest like cultural difference. Police officers in America, like them having a weapon, having a gun, that is synonymous with them. You know, everyone kind of, when an officer arrives, there's always that, like, that respect, maybe uncomfortableness of knowing that they have, like, a weapon on them. But that's just like, yeah, it's synonymous. So that's super interesting to me. Cultural difference there. Anyway, this was by the Infographics Show. I liked this. This actually did touch on some of the, like, interesting topics that I was hoping it would. Some of the training, like how, when you can get in, how difficult it is to get in, the pay, a little bit of like the public perception part of it, which is quite interesting. Yeah, I had never known any of this stuff about British cops, bobbies. Very interesting stuff. This video also happened to, at the same time, make me take another look at police in America as well. And, you know, a comparison, which is good. Self-reflection, always a good thing. Very good. I enjoyed this. Anyway, if you enjoyed this as well, feel free to give this video a like or leave a comment. And if you're interested in more videos like this, me reacting to Britain, British culture, stuff in Britain that I have never seen or learned before, feel free to subscribe for more. And until then, thanks for watching, and see you next time.